Welcome to another edition of Inside Tulsa Athletics. I am your host, Rick Couri, and yes, we are at that time of year. Basketball is beginning, football's in district play, and we're getting near playoffs and tournament time for some sports, and today we're going to cover a lot of that. One thing's new at TPS is new administrators. We're going to talk to many of those people. Some of those have been around a while, like Krystel Markwardt and, of course, Mick Wilson, but some new folks as well we're going to hear from today. We're also going to hear from Greg Nash, the Booker T cross-country coach. We're going to get into softball a little bit with Lauren Merrill at Edison, and Braden Beasley, from Edison will also talk to us about softball. All that today right here on Inside Tulsa Athletics. We're back for more Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm your host, Rick Couri, and now we're going to talk a little cross country from over at Booker T. It's Greg Nash, who's been teaching now how long?
39 years.
How long have you been coaching cross country?
About 37 years.
Now, cross country is a sport that's been around for a long time, as he just mentioned, 37 years, but it never was a huge deal until people started to pay attention to more runners in the Olympics. When did you see cross country really start to kind of build in popularity?
Well, when I was in high school, believe it or not, the University of Tulsa has always had a great cross-country program, and they've continued to have that for many years, and I've kept up with that since I've graduated from high school, and a couple of my friends went to TU and ran cross-country, and so I always kept up with it through them because they were good runners there back in the 80s, and their program has always been at the top each year, and then it's still continued now with Coach Gully. Mm-hmm. It's a good friend of mine. We went to Northeastern State University together.
Yeah, right. Okay. So it's cross country now. What are your numbers like? Are you seeing more and more kids interested?
Yes, we've had great numbers at Booker T over the past probably 15 years. And like I said, this past year last year we lost 12 senior boys and 8 girls to graduation. So we're now kind of in a rebuilding process, but we still have numbers. We have 48 kids in the program, so we've been each year about between 40 and 50 kids each year we've been having in cross country the last 10 or 15 years.
Is there a certain runner, I mean, we know about running on tracks or that kind of thing, but is there a certain kind of runner that's more fit for cross country? How does someone move from the one side to the other side?
Well, you're talking about fit. Most of the kids are kind of lean and a little tall, and those ones are pretty productive with the longer legs, the longer strides, and they're not too bulky, and they're lean, and they can run pretty well and run a long distance, and those usually ones is pretty good.
Yeah, right. I'm the bulky. No, that's not what it's not the bulky over there. The bulky is on this side over here. What do you tell kids who are new into cross country? Because it isn't on a track. It is a little bit different.
Right. Well, we got a lot of new kids this year, since you said that. So we're kind of rebuilding because we lost a lot of seniors last year. But I just tell them, hey, just do the best you can. And we're going to work on some base and work on endurance starting out. And you got to build your confidence up and believe that you can run the distance of a 5K. A lot of them don't know what a 5K is. You tell them it's 3.1 miles, and they say, oh, I don't know if I can do that. But we encourage them. We have a summer program that we start out with and encourage them to come at least 3 days a week. And then see if you like it, bring a friend with you, and then let's just continue to practice and get better. And a lot of them, buy into that, and they bring a friend or buddy with them, and that's how we continue to build our program, and we've been so successful in the last 15 years.
A lot of people have heard of cross country, but they may not see it other than the Olympics. They may not even know what kind of courses you run over. Describe some of the courses where you guys run.
Well, cross country is kind of unique. If you go to a real cross country meet, you go to Oklahoma State, Rogers State, some of those schools, colleges that have real cross country and a real cross country course where you run up in the hills and stuff. You run through the hills and through the woods and different things like that. Mud is fun. Running in the mud, a lot of kids like that. Rain. So you got to be a little special to do that. So it can be a lot of ruts and stuff that you go through. You got to have a good pair of shoes and have them tied up and go with it. So you got to go through a trail and you got to stay on the trail. It's easy marked. So if they stay on the trail and just follow it, it takes them right on through. And a lot of kids, and they'll find the enjoyment of it once they get through that and say, oh man, this is fun. So, like I said, we practice a lot during the summer at Turkey Mountain,
you're right.
which is a challenge out there, Turkey Mountain. Then we'll have a little obstacle course that we run and have a little challenge each summer.
Right. Around school, when you got them for a certain amount of time around school, how do you replicate some of that stuff around school, or do you just have an area right now?
Well, we have our own little cross country course on campus, which we got to call a campus course at Booker T, which is kind of flat, and it's kind of around the old football practice field there at Booker T around the campus. So that's what we do during the class day, during the school day, during the week, and then on weekends, on Saturday or something, we go to Turkey Mountain where we can get a longer run, or we go to Riverside.
Oh, I got you.
Okay, so we go down to Riverside. We run down there a couple of days a week. And some of the boys, they like to get up at 6 o'clock or 6:30 and run down to Riverside about 5 miles. And then when we get to practice at school, we can do more of sprint work.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Good to be young, right?
Yes.
Be able to want to get up at 6 or 6:30
I can't keep
in the
up
morning.
with them like that some of the time, so it's kind of hard to keep up with.
Well, you said you've coached a long time and you've taught a long time. How
Right.
do you stay up with your athletes? They are, they get younger, or they don't change, and we do. We get older and they stay the same
as
age.
I've gotten older, like I said, you get a little older, and most of the kids they know the routes where we're going, and we try to keep it safe for all the kids in that area. I have another assistant coach, which is great. We kind of keep up with them and supervise certain areas and in the paths where we're going, so kid won't get lost and stuff and get scared. So safety is one of our number one concerns when we're practicing off campus. We got to provide a lot of safety and keep up with the kids. Sometimes I have a bike, so I got a bicycle I ride sometimes to keep up with them. So if someone's in the back, I can kind of move them up to the front and get them going.
You look like you could still run with them.
Well, yes, I can. I'm not in too bad of shape.
Greg, thanks for coming in.
I appreciate it.
You say hi to our friends at Booker T for us.
Thank
That
you
is
very
Greg Nash. He's the head cross-country coach at Booker T. More Inside Tulsa Athletics coming up.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against one tough competitor, glass.
That's right, only glass bottles and jars are recyclable. Don't even think about sinking a drink in glass or mirror. Always good to empty your glass bottles and jars before recycling.
These two get it, emptying both bottles from far out, and they remove the lids. Score big by recycling your glass bottles and jars. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
I feel like athletics is so important at Tulsa Central because it's an outlet for some of our kids there. They get a better opportunity to basically give back to our community.
At McLain, the sports is what mainly drives a bunch of the students to come to school every single day and work hard because they want to be able to come from the classroom to the field or the court and show at what they're good at.
Welcome back for more of Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm Rick Couri, your host, and now I'm happy to be joined by the wife of a friend, and now you'll be a friend too. Lauren Merrill, the Edison volleyball coach, Grant's wife. And for Grant, if you're at home, you outkicked your coverage. Thank you very much for coming in and for putting up with your husband.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so tell me about your season at Edison.
We're having a really great year this year. We are ranked 11th in 5A and playing some really, really good volleyball and excited for postseason coming up in a couple weeks.
Okay, so as you said, postseason's getting here. I love to ask coaches about how you taper, or what do you do as you approach that? If you're having a great year, you don't want to change much. Coaches are creatures of habit, but you also know your team has to peak at the right time. How do you approach it?
We are really, really big about pushing your level of volleyball shouldn't change based on who's across the net. So we expect to play our game versus let the other team dictate how we play. So no matter who we're seeing, if it's a tough opponent or maybe someone who is not as tough, we want to make sure we're still playing that high level volleyball. How
do you handle it going to the playoffs? Do you talk about the fact that it does, really amp up how important everything is, or do you try to keep it really even keel?
We want to make sure and scout out the other team, but we also focus on ourselves because if we're playing good volleyball, that's all you can ask for in playing our game. There are certain things that you can take care of and there's certain things you can't control. So, the other team is going to get aces, the other team's going to get kills, but so are we. So we want to make sure we're focusing on making our game the best we can We've had some really great practices, and we try to do a lot of game-like drills. We call them grills, so that the girls can get ready for that level.
All right, so you said how we play. So what is the MO of your team? How do you play? What's your thing?
So when we're playing, we talk about that aggressive errors are okay. So we're willing to give up some points to go all out, because we think that will those errors will eventually go down as we get more and more comfortable playing at that high level.
So you can make a mistake, but do it with your hair on fire.
Yeah, absolutely.
What made you want to coach volleyball?
It's actually kind of a family business. My dad played, my mom has a club back in Kansas, my siblings and I all played, so volleyball's been in my blood for a very long time.
You know, for a lot of people, that would push them away. What kept you in?
So when I was in high school, I actually got injured, and I started coaching when I was 18, but I was still in high school. I coached a little 10-year-old team, and I thought I wanted to stop playing. And it brought my love of volleyball back. And I'm so grateful that my mom forced me to do it, because I think that, you know, it's become my calling, and being an AD is just added to that. It's so fun getting to be an athletic administrator as well.
What is it about the coaching part that you think that relit you and kind of got you interested and motivated again?
Just that I loved the game so much. So getting to spread my love of the game so more girls would love the game has been really, really wonderful.
When you get someone in your team who is struggling, but you can see that it's there, and they have that same problem, because if you've lost passion for a game, you can kind of tell when somebody else does. How do you pull them out of that?
So something really big in our practices is we do not make kids run for errors. So you miss a serve, you don't have to run, because you are trying. Now we're going to talk about how you can fix that and maybe turn it into not an error, but we want them to be able to fail forward and learn, because it's a safe place. Practice is a safe place to go all out and try those things. When we're in a game, we maybe want to be smart and strategic, but we want to make sure that they're okay with making errors, because errors happen. There's no such thing as a perfect hitter. In any sport, you look at it, someone's stats, everyone makes errors. So we want to make sure that they understand and they are resilient when they do make errors, so that they don't stress about each one that they do. Yeah,
that's smart. Although, Grant, you should run if you make an error. All right. All right. So you mentioned the AD part. Adding to that, I mean, that adds duties. Does it take away from anything? And how do the two cross over, if you will?
It's been really great. At Edison, we have 3, so we're kind of spoiled, and we all have different seasons where we're busy. So in volleyball season, they kind of pick up some slack for me, and then in basketball season, I'll of course step up for Coach Ships, because he's in the basketball world. Right. So we make a really, really good team, and it hasn't really taken away from it. It's just added to it, and it's been nice to connect with all the athletes at Edison.
What part of the administrator or the administration things that you're learning can help make you a better coach?
I think that coaches can help push each other and learn things. So like, a good coach is a good coach. And when I watch good coaches on the sideline of any sport, I can learn things from them about how they talk to their kids, about some of the strategies that they do, maybe mentally. It's obviously not physically, because it's a different sport, but good coaches can make each other better.
Since the kids know you're an administrator now, do they even pay more attention, or do they just kind of you're just our coach?
I've been really lucky and had really respectful students, so that's never been a problem.
Good. Well, it's always fun, though, when you can roll in there and tell them, I'm an AD, too.
Yeah, it is. And the kids at Edison are really great, and also I'm a snack person for them. I have a snack pantry, because I don't want kids to ever be hungry and worry about hunger during practices, so they always come to my office, and they can grab a snack and a Gatorade before they go out and play.
What's their favorite snack?
Honey buns. I bring them every time I bring them, we are out that day. They never stay.
Lauren Merrill, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate that. And remember, honey buns if you're an Edison volleyball player. Back with more Inside Tulsa Athletics right after this.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against a tough competitor, plastic.
Don't trust those numbers on the bottom. You have to stick to what you know. Only bottles and jugs found in the kitchen, bath, or laundry. They're quick to pick up. And empty those bottles before sinking that shot.
Always empty your bottles before recycling. Score big by recycling your plastic bottles and jugs. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hales means that you have to be consistent outgoing and be dedicated because students at Nathan Hale look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hale has taught me to be confident and disciplined and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
This is Inside Tulsa Athletics. Welcome back. I'm your host, Rick Couri. Now we're going to talk a little softball, something people in Oklahoma know a lot about. We're going to do that with Braden Beasley. He's the head coach at Edison. You can probably see that right there on his shirt. First of all, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You are a softball coach, which means you probably had to be a softball player, huh?
Well, something like that, baseball, but got kind of into softball. Last year was my first year, so kind of got into softball as the assistant last year, and then this year as the head.
What got you into it? What got you interested?
I've always kind of liked softball and always enjoyed watching it. I had 2 younger sisters that always played competitive, so I was always just kind of around it, and I always thought it was, not to say that it's better than baseball, because I don't think I could ever say that it's better than baseball, because that's what I am, but it was just something about it. It's just fast, it's just fun to watch. And I just kind of always got into it. And then when they asked me, when I first got here last year, they're like, would you want to be, help with softball this year? I was like, yeah, absolutely. I can be a blast.
Right.
And
well,
it has been.
We've all played it growing up, right? So you've done that. I mean, and you always like the chance of hitting that bigger ball and all that kind of thing. It was always kind of fun. But then here in Oklahoma, this is a softball state, because of not just Oklahoma and Oklahoma State and, and Tulsa and others who have softball teams, but, you had Roger State win titles and other things. You get some pretty good players through here. How aware of the next level are all the girls you're coaching?
A lot of them are a lot more aware than I think I originally thought. And, it's one of those that, I have plenty of college connections too. I played college ball, and we have plenty of connections there. Our baseball coach has a lot of connections.
Sure.
So we have a lot of girls who, coming in, and that's kind of, the goal is the ones that want to go play. And if that's their goal, then by all means, we do whatever we can to get them there.
But I think the level of softball in this state does help. Doesn't it help the interest?
Yeah, I think so. I think it helps a lot, especially knowing the success, obviously, that OU's been having the past couple of years, and the success that OSU continues to have, and even, some of the smaller schools, UCO has a great program.
Yes, they do, yeah.
And so I think just having that success for those programs in state helps a ton, because a lot of girls know they don't have to, go too far away from home or something to be able to go play.
Do you find when they come to you that they're really pretty well schooled, understanding? There's one thing about having an understanding of the game, but when they become real fans and watch an awful lot of it, I mean, there's just some of that just soaks in. They become better at all that. They become more intuitive. Do you find that?
Yeah, I think, and I've always been a big believer in that, like just watching especially high level stuff is probably the best way to learn, especially with baseball and softball, because there's anybody that claims to know everything there's so much to know in these games. And so I think and I tell my girls all the time, if you just watch a game and you will learn a ton. And so I think that's, again, with the success that our in-state programs have, I think that is probably one of the best learning tools that, as a coach, that we can have.
Just finding situations or seeing them that you may not always find somewhere else.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that one time. That helps. How's your team this year?
We're in the middle of a really good season at Edison. I mean, we are, getting toward the end, but we are, in a record-setting season for us actually this year. We're sitting at 14-6 right now, which is amazing for us. And even with some girls who maybe didn't anticipate on having a huge role, have stepped up huge for us this year. And so, like I said, we're kind of right in the middle of an incredible season for Edison, for sending us back in the direction that we want to go.
Did you see this in this team to start the year, or did you think they had the potential for this?
Yeah, I absolutely did. We didn't lose anybody from last year's team, and then we gained a couple, kind of coming back to the program. But we had the same team last year, and we showed flashes kind of all year last year of kind of what could be, and we just our big thing this year was that we want to change the narrative. And we have a team full of girls who have really just bought into that, and it showed this year by us going out and getting back in the win column.
How do you keep that roll going? It's one thing to get there. It's another kind of roll that into when it's most important, and that is tournament time and playoffs time, if you will.
Yeah, it's just us just knowing and believing that all the work we did all summer long and all throughout the season, that everything we did is that we're prepared, that we're ready, and that nothing should, come to us as a shock, and that, when the lights are the brightest, that, we'll be ready to go. Because I always tell my girls too, if you're nervous, that means you think that you're underprepared. But I mean, we've prepared, I think, as hard or harder than probably really anybody. And so, we'll be ready to go.
All right, so in like 15 seconds or less, I've asked this to a lot of people who have coached boys and girls. Which is easier?
Girls. Girls for sure.
Because?
Girls just don't really ask questions, I've noticed. It's just like, you tell them or ask them to do something, and they go do it.
There you go. Well, you heard it, guys. Be a little more agreeable. Braden Beasley, Edison Softball, thank you. And congratulations on the success.
Thank you. I appreciate
Back
it.
with more of Inside Tulsa Athletics after this.
Hey, Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is looking to defend their title against aluminum and steel cans.
Bob, most people think of the kitchen for this opponent, but aluminum and steel cans, like empty shaving cream cans, also play extremely well in bathrooms all over Tulsa. That was nothing but bin, Bob.
Wow, right into the bin. Team Johnson has buttoned up another win. Score big by recycling your aluminum and steel cans. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, your team will always be there for you.
Welcome back again to Tulsa, Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm Rick Couri, your host, and I am glad to be joined by one of the newer members of the athletic department, Emily Stone, who's an assistant AD. Hey, welcome. Thank you for being here. Her first, second big-time interview, right? If you
right? Second big-time interview. I come from Oral Roberts University, and so I had the privilege of being on live TV talking about our trip to the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
And we were hosting a watch party in the Mabee Center, and so I had the privilege of being on live TV and talking about it. So this is definitely a very different experience.
So what got you from ORU to TPS?
Absolutely. It's kind of a long story, but I'll keep it short for you today. So my dream has always been to work in an athletic department, to become an athletic director, and just kind of guide the student athletes and how can we make their experience better. And so I went to Oral Roberts University in their athletic department as the director of marketing and fan engagement, and had the opportunity to help grow their attendance numbers and make their experience a lot better. But I was still looking for more, and how can I take that next step, and saw this position open, and I took a leap and applied for it. And here I am. I got the job, and I'm excited to be here.
And now that you've made the transition, certainly everything you do from one to the next is going to be different.
Absolutely.
How different is that? What are you starting to learn?
Absolutely. Definitely supervising coaches and just being over different sports and taking over different things that I may not have seen as the director of marketing and fan engagement. And so we're starting to kind of learn and transition into what sports I'm going to take over and what things I'm going to be over. So there's a little bit of a difference. I'm not necessarily my own person anymore. I'm over a bunch of different things, not just the marketing and game operations aspect of everything.
Yeah, so the instant you not only answered, say you have no one to answer to because everybody has somebody to answer to. At home, it's my wife. But have somebody to answer to. But then you're also responsible for other people. It does change your mindset, doesn't it?
It absolutely changes your mindset because, like I said previously, I'm used to just taking care of myself and working for myself essentially. But now I have others to worry about and other things to worry about that are on my plate, and how can we make this a better experience in that way. And so it's different. I'm excited to continue to learn with Mick and Krystel. They've been super supportive throughout this process.
What have been the easier parts of it, and what have been the harder parts?
Well, it's only day 3 now on the job, so there's still a lot to learn. I'm still going through the onboarding process, so I'm still kind of getting my feet wet and kind of learning everything as we go. So since it is day 3, I really don't know that answer right now.
As you meet coaches, because as you said, there'll be things you break up you're responsible for. How do you approach that? What have you been thinking through the fact of how do you go to somebody? How do you tell them I'm the new boss or I'm the new person, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. I've been slowly thinking about I need to go and make sure I drive to these different sites and make sure I meet the different athletic directors and make sure I meet the different coaches so they know that I'm here for them and I'm here to support them. So it is something I've been thinking about. It's something that I'm excited about because I am a people person. You know, in my other job, that's all I did. That's all I only talked to people. I talked to them, figured out how I can make their game day different. And so I'm definitely excited to meet them, get to know them, and figure out how we can make it better for them.
Marketing and fan engagement is something that's become a buzzword around athletics, not just college, professional, everywhere else. It's not just a game anymore. It's an experience, and it better be entertainment or people won't show up. Absolutely. I think ORU did a very good job of handling that, actually probably before many others did. Yeah. What parts of that can you bring into this role? Because again, you got to have more than just moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas out there.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, it comes to our student athletes and their recruiting and everything of that nature. How can we provide an experience for these recruits and for these student athletes, you know, that are coming in to see what we do and what it's like to play at a D1 level at Oral Roberts University? And so it's not just the parents, it's not just the kids, you know, it's the student athletes. We want to provide them the best experience possible through getting different themes going on for our fans to dress up with, you know, and have fun with it. And, you know, when we do stuff like that, the more people come.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that's something you're going to bring to TPS, right?
Absolutely. That's the goal. We talked a little bit on the way here about the Tournament of Champions. And so I'll be able to bring that expertise of the entertainment side of everything to the Tournament of Champions and be able to bring that experience and that knowledge to that and provide those fans something fun.
I know several women ADs, Judy McLeod and some ladies who like that. She runs Conference USA right now. What made you want to become an administrator at that level in AD?
Absolutely. So I've been in sports my whole entire life. Going to college for softball was probably the main reason to even continue into sports. And so getting to kind of see the college level of things in that way maybe really realize that being in administration and athletics at a high school or college level was something that I wanted to do because of the experience that I was given in that process. Right. And so we don't have a lot of female athletic directors, female athletic administrators in general. And so I wanted to become one of the few that are able to be in that position and be able to help women in sports. I mean, it is not easy being a female in sports, right? There's a lot of challenges that come with that. And so how can I better that with the knowledge and experiences that I've been able to go through?
Well, I hope you continue to make it easier for him. Emily,
Thank
you very much. Nice job on that second interview, by the way. Emily Stone, Assistant Athletic Director at TPS. More with more Inside Tulsa Athletics just after this.
Hey, Tulsa, we have a crushing recycle play of the day for you. Team Johnson versus paper and cardboard.
They're starting off slow today, probably trying to figure out what to do with those styrofoam plates, since they're not recyclable.
There's the big play we were waiting for. Boom! Completely empty cardboard boxes dunked in the cart. Score big by recycling your cardboard and paper. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Booker T. Washington has taught me to carry myself with class as an athlete, student, and friend, and to have responsibility on and off the field, and that it's the littlest things that will make all the difference in the long run.
Being an athlete at Memorial High School has taught me to be a better person, because when you play sports, attitude is the main thing you have to deal with, not just your own, but other people's. It also teaches you to be the bigger person.
You're tuned to Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm Rick Couri, your host. Now it's time for us to welcome in Jason Selmon. He's a TPS Assistant Athletic Director, and I got to get it out of the way right up front. How many people ask you if you're related to Selmon?
Everyone at this point, especially in Oklahoma. Everybody knows the name, obviously, and I get it quite often.
And you're not, right?
I'm what?
You're related to
Dewey? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Those are my uncles.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. So those are my uncles and my dad, Chester. was one of the older brothers. Unfortunately, he didn't go on to play football and sports, as he did a lot of work there at home. But yes, those are my uncles.
Obviously, your uncles could play. There's no question about that. Is that what you got started interested-wise when it came to being in not only athletics but in administration?
Yeah, absolutely. I've always grown up playing football. I admired my uncles. I didn't get to see them play because I was so young, but I heard a lot of the great stories about them and just the great people that they were, as well as athletes. And so it definitely piqued my interest and sparked that inside of me to be interested in athletics.
So what got you from the point of playing to wanting to be an administrator?
Yeah, well, I've always wanted to be involved in athletics, and I went from my playing days to coaching. It's kind of where I cut my teeth in athletics outside of playing. And then I wanted to go back because I wanted to get involved in work in athletics. So I went back to school and got my master's degree from Wichita State University in sport management. And at that point, that's when I decided I really want to go work in administration, in athletics. And so, just my history in playing athletics to coaching and working with young people, it was a natural fit for me. To go and work in athletics.
But you make it sound like it's the draw to the kids. Is that part of it?
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about this in our meeting yesterday, but it's the thing that connects kids to school, and it keeps them wanting to do the right thing and have good behaviors and be at school all the time because there's a consequence for not being for not being there and not participating in the athletics. So I think the athletics plays a crucial role with young people and keeping them engaged in school.
And that happens a lot at that coaching level. How does it happen for you in your assistant AD role?
Well, I don't have direct connection with kids in the school right now, but at a district level, I get to support a whole lot more kids through the athletic directors and people that are actually and coaches that are working directly with the kids. And so I think at the position that I am at, I get to have a bigger, deeper impact at a higher level that, eventually I think trickles down to benefiting the kids.
You still get the itch though and go out to a lot of games?
Oh, absolutely. I love to go watch football. I love to go watch basketball. Even in my previous stint as AD at a small place in Wichita, I got very familiar with other sports that I had never really been engaged with before, like softball, girls soccer, cross country. And so I've just gained more of experience and just admiration for other sports than those that I just played and were familiar with.
Everybody brings something different to a role. What do you think you bring best to this role?
I think really what I bring best to the role is my ability to manage programs, build relationships with coaches, support. And then my experience as an athletic director over the last couple of years has really, I think, prepared me to understand what athletic directors at the site levels are going through and what they deal with on a daily basis, not only at the middle school level, but the high school level too. And so I think just being able to relate to what they deal with on a site level, I think that is a good strength that I bring to the table. That I hope to benefit the district.
In a really good job, when you get up in the morning, there's something that you're looking forward to, something you're already passionate about before you walk through that front door. What is it for you?
I just want to make an impact with young people. There's 34,000 students in the Tulsa public schools, and so there's a big opportunity to make a huge impact. And so that's what I'm passionate about. I want to help young people get to the next level or figure out what their passion is, and whatever obstacles or things that you have to get through to get there, those are there. But that impact that I think I can have in a bigger a bigger place with a bigger group of students is just pushes and drives me to be my best.
And it couldn't be really a better time of year, could it? Because you got basketball starting, you got playoffs beginning for some sports, you got football kind of in the really important district part. It's a really good time, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a great time. And, young people are playing at their highest level because they're positioning for playoff spots, seedings. Young people are getting ready for basketball season and have been working hard all spring, summer, and the fall to prepare themselves to go out and play at a high level. And so I'm just excited to see it all come to fruition for them.
Jason, thank you very much for taking the time
to
show up.
Appreciate
We appreciate that. Good looking shirt too, by the way.
you.
Jason Selmon, athletic director. He's one of the assistant athletic directors at Tulsa Public Schools. Back with more Inside Tulsa Athletics next.
Hey, Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against one tough competitor, glass.
That's right. Only glass bottles and jars are recyclable. Don't even think about sinking a drink in glass or mirror. Always good to empty your glass bottles and jars before recycling.
These two get it, emptying both bottles from far out, and they remove the lids. Score big by recycling your glass bottles and jars. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
I feel like athletics is so important at Tulsa Central because it's an outlet for some of our kids there. They get a better opportunity to basically give back to our community.
At McLain, the sports is what mainly drives a bunch of the students to come to school every single day and work hard because they want to be able to come from the classroom to the field or the court and show at what they're good at.
Welcome back for more Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm your host, Rick Couri. I'm very happy to be joined by the principal at McLain High School. His name is Dr. Rob Kaiser. I like the doctor part. I've got a daughter working on her PhD, so I like the doctor part.
Yes.
When you first got it, did you require everyone to call you doctor?
No. Mr. Rob, hey you, hey buddy, that all works for me. That all works for me.
All right, let's get into your background a
Yes.
little bit. I want to talk about McLain and what's happening there, but how did you get to McLain?
Yeah, so I'm from Northeast PA originally. I played basketball for 4 years at the University of Lynchburg in Virginia. Always knew I wanted to be a teacher. Had done the PE degree, and then had moved out here to Tulsa with Teach for America. I've been in the district since 2013, but Tulsa's become home. Met my wife. We have 3 little kids. And so nobody sleeps in my house right now, but no, it's been great. I've been at Monroe, which is the middle school for McLain, for the past 7 years. And now up at McLain for this year as well.
All right, so they talk about how big that jump is for kids from that one level to the other level. How about for an administrator? What's that jump like?
Yeah, it is. It's a new ball game. I will say that the blessing in it all is I've known all these guys since they've been in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Sure. So I feel like I've watched them grow up, and now we're in high school and looking to really try to provide opportunities and create some momentum for kids to get to the next level.
Does that help, the fact that you've known them? I mean, sometimes I can see that it would, maybe sometimes too.
Yeah, no, it's a huge help. It's a huge help. I've known the families for a long time. I've known the students. I know, their passions, what they're interested in, what they want for their future. So to be here in an opportunity to kind of watch them grow through high school has been a blessing.
When you got here from Pennsylvania, and now when you think about where the state has come, how do you compare the progress here?
Yeah, I feel very fortunate to be in Tulsa Public Schools for the years that I have. I've seen tremendous growth. Particularly the leadership of Dr. Johnson and really focusing on student outcomes and where we want students to go, the academic pieces. So it's a great time to be in Tulsa Public Schools, and I'm so excited for the rest of this year and what's in store.
And this is about Inside Tulsa Athletics, so we should be talking about some athletics. I know it's the middle of football season, and I know from my playing days many years ago, McLain was feared.
Yes.
There were great football players at McLain. How are things going right now?
It's going awesome. We have a group of coaches, a group of men that, I just hope they stay around so my son can play for them. Guys that are excited about, the success on the field, but also in the classroom, hold the high expectations. We've got a big game this Thursday, so we're looking forward to that. Coach Milton Harper and the staff that he's put together is nothing short of tremendous. and we're just super excited. You know, team's a little bit young, so as we continue to get some years under our belt and continue to move forward, just an exciting time for 49-29 football.
And obviously you've got other things happening too. You know, there's the basketball's beginning, and you know there are other sports that are happening at this point. Cross country's going, volleyball's going, all those things. How do you keep up?
We try our best. I will tell you, one of the sports that I'm most proud of is cross country at McLain. This is, you know, I think for the first time in a long time, we've had a huge showing. And when I say huge, I mean over 15 kids running. We go to, you know, different events once a week. We're involved in some kind of competition. At our last competition, it was either 6 or 8 students all placed in the top 20, which is awesome. So, you know, super excited about that. Volleyball team's done great this year. We had senior night last week. You know, athletics and sports, being a PE guy and an old basketball player in college myself, is definitely one of the joys that I have, is just staying in touch with what's going on and being able to be in tune with that. I'll also say girls flag football, watch out. The McLain Titans, we've got a team that's excited and has been preparing, so we're excited about that.
That is really a fun and growing sport, but all women's sports are growing like crazy, aren't they?
Yes, and wrestling too. I mean, we have 2 wrestlers on our team right now that are looking at, you know, eyeing down a state championship. And so it's an exciting time in our wrestling room. It's an exciting time at McLain. So a lot of positives coming from those teams.
All right, so you got to be honest with me here. You're a basketball guy, so how often do you sneak in the gym and give tips?
Oh, you know what? So this summer I got to play with the guys. I get up and down with them, and you know, that's the joy for me. I still can go in and he said, "Mr. Kaiser, can you still shoot?" I said, "I don't know, but I can still throw an elbow." You know what I mean? So I still got those. But no, it's been great, and I love getting up there with the guys. And for anybody watching that is a student at Monroe or McLain, I'm still undefeated. I mean, I'm look at the camera and say that I'm undefeated. Nobody's beat me. So
he can say that because he's in charge.
Yeah,
that's the way that
that's
works.
exactly right.
Yeah.
You've heard it here first.
What is your goal for the school in the next year or so?
I think continuing to build on the progress that's been made at McLain. I think we have kids that are talented, bright, hardworking, resilient, and trying to bring and let our kids access as many opportunities as they can, whether that's through Tulsa Community College, whether it's through Tulsa Tech. All those different things is what we're really excited about and looking forward to for the future.
Matter of fact, that was probably a former student calling right there. He's just trying to answer on the phone right there on the wrist. Well, times have changed. That is pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on getting here and staying here. My son and his family live just outside Pittsburgh. I'm familiar with most of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Wonderful area.
Absolutely.
It's great to have you here since that time, and thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you, guys.
Dr. Rob Kaiser from Tulsa Public Schools, and he's, of course, at McLain. He is the principal there. Back with more Inside Tulsa Athletics next.
Hey, Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is looking to defend their title against aluminum and steel cans.
Bob, most people think of the kitchen for this opponent, but aluminum and steel cans, like empty shaving cream cans, also play extremely well in bathrooms all over Tulsa. That was nothing but bin, Bob.
Wow, right into the bin. Team Johnson has buttoned up another win. Score big by recycling your aluminum and steel cans. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hales means that you have to be consistent, outgoing, and be dedicated because students at Nathan Hale look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hale has taught me to be confident and disciplined and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
Welcome back. It's more of Inside Tulsa Athletics. I am your host, Rick Couri, and we are pleased to announce we have with us one of the bosses. It is the Deputy Athletic Director at TPS. It is Krystel Markwardt. Krystel, thank you very much for coming here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking over for Mick, at least for a little bit, right?
I'm giving him a break.
You got to, the boss has got to have a break.
Absolutely.
So what does a Deputy Athletic Director begin their day doing?
You know, answering emails on my way to work. So really it starts before before we even get on the road to go to work. Just answering emails, checking schedules, making sure, everybody's taken care of. So it's a job.
I can imagine. Now, you have to work out. We were kind of joking about the fact that you're taking some of that pressure off Mick, but you do. I mean, he's got things to do. You have things to do. But this is not like that. There's, there's a boss and a team, but it's really more of a team. So how do you guys break up what you do?
It's absolutely a team, and we're lucky enough to have just got a couple more team members, thank goodness. Mick and I have been working pretty hard the last 6 months kind of by ourselves, and it's a lot, but we do things together. He's got the experience. He's been in that office for a long time, and I've been at the sites for a long time, so we really work together well, just taking care of our athletic directors and our coaches.
So that is the thing. Everybody has kind of a skill set too, right?
Absolutely.
It's not just what you've done, it's what you adapt to and you're really good to. And in a really good team, everybody gets to do what they do well.
Absolutely. For example, I've got certain sports that I played or coached, and Mick's done the same thing, and we just sit down and he pretty much says, okay, what do you want to work on this year, and what things do you want to take? Here's the things that I'll take, and he's not opposed to switching it up. Yeah. And if you think you have more skill sets in this sport, you can have that. So we work really, really well together.
Okay, but because you coach softball, can you be a little harder on softball coaches?
Absolutely. And I did take softball because that is my passion, and I actually took baseball from Mick this year, so it was good.
Do you really though have to find yourself kind of holding back sometimes because maybe there's input you want to give that? Yeah.
Absolutely. I did I hosted a softball clinic for TPS this summer, and I found myself going back into the coaching mode, and I thought, gosh, I really miss this. But I did figure out after one day out there all day long, I am on the other side of the coaching thing.
So I didn't miss it that much.
I didn't. No.
Speaking of softball, it's something you guys started last year with Oklahoma City Schools. It's a Turnpike 44 championship. Explain what it is and why we're doing it.
So what we decided, Mick and I and Eddie Wright, the athletic director at Oklahoma City Public Schools, sat down and said, our kids in Tulsa, in the city limits, we don't have the same resources we used to have. We don't have the Little League softball stuff that we used to have in the city. They used to have metro leagues, and they're just not there. It's the competitive world's taken over. Club teams and the cost that's associated with that is just outrageous, and a lot of our kids don't have that luxury to do that. So to keep that sport going in both of our districts, we decided, just so we could be more competitive and kids wouldn't quit because they're getting their tails beat every week, we decided to join with Oklahoma City Public Schools, where our kids are very similar in their resources and what we have, and it's been awesome. So last year, we've got teams that hadn't won a softball game in years and years. And last year, we've got teams that have won 9 and 10 games this season. The rosters have increased. Kids are loving it. They're having fun. And really, at the end of the day, all we care about is kid participation and getting them out there and getting involved in something that's bigger than themselves. So.
That's what I was going to say. What has it done numbers-wise?
We've increased. For example, at Hale, I know we were struggling there for a couple of years just to field a team. Because toward the end of the year, when you're playing a lot of those suburbs, when you get beat day in and day out, those kids don't want to stay out there, especially when it's hot in the softball season. So we pretty much, he had more kids stayed last year. They ended up growing their roster throughout the season. And he was actually the team, Coach Medlock over there at the time. He's their AD now, but they won 9 games last year. Again, hadn't won a game in a long time.
Yeah,
so it's really changed. The kids are loving it. We had that softball camp this summer. There were about 90 kids that came out. It was incredible. So the interest is growing.
Well, the good news is, because as you said, competition at the highest level is really fun, but competition that's even is good anyway,
Absolutely.
No matter what. And you see more fulfilled kids, don't you?
Absolutely. And they don't know any different because, when the score's 11-12, it's competitive. And we love it. The tournament last year was held at the Hall of Fame. Oklahoma City Public Schools hosted that for us at the Hall of Fame Stadium. The kids got to see that venue. It was just awesome playing on a field that they got to see, that they saw on TV hosting the World Series. And then this year, we're going to host it at the University of Tulsa.
That is fantastic. Not only that, but you have something that's really cool, the Girls Flag Football League.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Mick had an idea when I came in last summer. Mick had an idea, and he said, hey, I want to be, I like being the first at things. And I want Tulsa Public Schools to be the first having girls flag football. And I looked at him a little odd, and I thought, that's interesting. I don't know how that's going to work because I had just done the powder puff games at the sites, for a fundraiser. And I thought, okay, well, we'll see how that works. So I started diving into that a little bit and got some really good feedback. Went to the national convention, the athletic directors convention last winter, and they had a session on girls flag football. Turns out it's growing. There were 20-something states that have now sanctioned girls flag football, and it's really a growing sport, and we've got big time interest.
So what's going to happen? What's next?
We start our season in mid-October, and we've got 5 weeks of season, and it's just a preliminary year, but we're excited. We're very excited.
Who will be involved? What 5?
It's our 9 schools, and then we've added Bishop Kelly to come into our league to make 10 teams.
Oh, that sounds like fun. Where are you going to play at all the sites?
We're going to play at all the sites. So we kick it off this October, and Donald Driver has stepped in to help us with NFL-driven flags, so we're really excited.
That is fantastic. Krystel, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
What an interesting visit. Krystel Markwardt from the University of Tulsa. Sorry. She played at the University of Tulsa. She knows the people at the University of Tulsa. She is the Deputy Athletic Director at Tulsa Public Schools. Back with more in a moment here on Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Hey, Tulsa, we have a crushing recycle play of the day for you. Team Johnson versus paper and cardboard.
They're starting off slow today, probably trying to figure out what to do with those styrofoam plates, since they're not recyclable.
There's the big play we were waiting for. Boom! Completely empty cardboard boxes dunked in the cart. Score big by recycling your cardboard and paper. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
I love Will Rogers Athletics because it helped me physically, spiritually, and emotionally through all the journeys I've been through at that school. All of the support staff helped me a lot, and it's just an amazing school.
Athletics at Will Rogers changed my life because it became a second family. With the support of my coaches and teammates, it's helped me gain confidence, work as a team, and will help me in college and in life.
We're back for more Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm your host, Rick Couri. Everybody straighten up now. Sit up straight. The boss is here. Mick is here. And it's always good to have the boss come in. But, you know, at the end of the week, and we're getting toward that end of the week, you got football games coming up and all that. Are you tired? Are you just ready to go to a game?
Sometimes you do. You're ready to get out of the office and go watch some games and relax and interact with not only the coaches, but get to see some of these kids and get to know kids. That's probably what I really enjoy. You know, last week I went out to watch Edison play, and our star basketball player from Edison last year, Jeremiah Johnson, happened to be back from Connor State. And when those kids come up and recognize you and give you a hug and just want to tell you how they're doing, those things really make a difference, and it really makes it worth a lot of things, Rick, when these kids, you get some interaction and some gratitude back or some appreciation from these young athletes. So makes it worth it for sure.
Every time we talk to you, we talk about what are you doing right now, and it's only a couple, every now and then, but the seasons don't seem to change. But I know the job really does still change. You're adding to your staff, which means you're kind of morphing and growing and evolving. How are things going behind the doors?
Well, it's been pleasantly surprised. We've got some new folks on board, as you've learned today, that are going to bring some new skill sets to our staff. Krystel and I have been by ourselves for nearly the last 7 or 8 months, and it's been challenging, Rick. It's been a lot of time spent, probably more than we wanted to at times, and needed to get away. But excited about what Jason and Emily are going to bring to the table, and so just getting them set and kind of teaching them a lot of the things that we do and the ways we maneuver, and how the schools are all different, unique communities within Tulsa. So just some of those things, and then of course trying to keep an eye on getting ready for basketball and our winter sports that just started yesterday. With wrestling and now basketball and swimming and all our winter sports underway. There's just never a time when it seems like there's down. No. So, and of course in all that, starting to field a lot of calls and things about tournament champions. Mm-hmm. So moving forward with all those things, and again, looking forward to, I think our high school basketball in TPS this year will be as strong as I've remembered in a long time.
Yeah, and it's been really, really good no matter what. How do you blend those personalities? I want to go back to your staff for a moment, because you do hire people because of, they have something in their personality, or there's a strong point or something like that. Do you approach that like you do recruiting? I need this for this, or do you approach, I'm going to hire hire the best person, and we're all going to mold ourselves together, if you will.
Well, I think that's part of being a leader, Rick, and being a coach is when you try to put a team together, people have roles to play. Sometimes people may outgrow that role, or sometimes people may not be ready for that role. So I think you have to groom the people that aren't, and you have to find new challenges for the people that are. And it's like building a team. You want everyone to have ownership. So you don't want to stand over people and try to micromanage, and that's probably just the opposite. I'm a little more laissez-faire, and I want to see people be able to succeed on their own. I want to be there to consult and to provide advice when needed, but I would say that part of that is just trying to let people be themselves and fit into what we do, and that's probably more the way I approach things. Is I want people to bring their strengths to the table, their talents, and if there's some things they want help with, then I try to lean in and provide them with some experience, because I've got a lot of it with our young folks. So again, it's really just team building, Rick, at the end of the day.
Are you a good listener? I mean, it's a lot of times as a leader, you have an idea of a way you want to do things. Somebody else may come in and I may want to try it this way, and there's sometimes that initial, well, we've done this, but are you good at that?
Rick, I'll tell you one thing that Krystel tells me that I'm good at, and I'm always seeking feedback, but I'm one of those guys that I like to try things first. That's being the flag football. I wanted to be the first district in the state, so we jumped on it and got out front. I like doing different things and new things, but I also like a group around me that tells me why maybe we shouldn't do it. I don't like getting blindsided by things that maybe we didn't foresee that could be a problem. The old saying is there's no good deed goes unpunished. I want to make sure that we know that what are those possibilities, what are the things that can happen if we do this. We know why we should. We know that we want to do things to benefit kids, but I also need to know that I don't want to get blindsided by anything, Rick. So I always say, as we huddle here, let's throw all the negative things on the table and get that aired out up front. And so I'm a little bit different in my leadership with that. So I want to know what can go wrong before we go down that road.
Yeah. Throw the grenades now, and then we'll get back.
we can dodge them later.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We don't have a lot of time left, but I'm really fascinated with the girls' flag football. I think it's a fantastic idea.
Rick, that really has been a dream come true for me. It started back when you saw the NFL initiative a few years ago when they were running all the commercials, and I thought, why can we not do that? And then, of course, you look across the nation, and now there are 8 or 9 states nationwide that have added that to their activities association. So as soon as we started down this road, and my former relationship with Donald Driver, former NFL star, has really helped us grow this, and then to let the OSSA know that I told David Jackson, watch, we're going to see if we can make this happen. I'm really proud of where we're at right now with girls flag football.
Can't wait. That'll be a lot of fun. Mick, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick.
All right, we can all sit back down. The boss is leaving. That is Mick Wilson, the athletic director, and this is Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against a tough competitor, plastic.
Don't trust those numbers on the bottom. You have to stick to what you know. Only bottles and jugs found in the kitchen, bath, or laundry. They're quick to pick up. And empty those bottles before sinking that shot.
Always empty your bottles before recycling. Score big by recycling your plastic bottles and jugs. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You know you can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, you know your team will always be there for you.
So thanks again for watching Inside Tulsa Athletics. Remember, we'll be with you again. We'll bring you more, not only coaches, but administrators from TPS. Until that time, what we want you to do, find a stadium, drive to some lights or maybe an arena and get out and support Tulsa Public Schools Athletics. I'm Rick Couri. For all of us here, we'll see you next time.